You're listening to the 4-Phase Cycle Podcast with your hosts, Dr. Alex and Megan of ZESTY Ginger. If you're looking to naturally balance hormones and learn how to work with your body instead of against it, you've definitely come to the right place. As a duo of an integrative MD and a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and best friends, we use the 4 phases of the female cycle in combination with functional lab work and mindset practices to transform the lives of the women we work with.
We also have a whole lot of fun along the way. If you're new around here, it's best to start with season 1 before jumping around and plan to roll up your sleeves. Showing up for ourselves and enjoying our lives is what good health is all about. Just a quick reminder though, this information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor before making changes.
Hello, Alex here. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to do this podcast episode today because it's been a long time coming. And that is because I am opening one-on-one spots to work with me. All right. So I have started this process already, and I have a few clients, and I'm opening a couple more spots for more. Right, so this isn't a whole lot of spots currently. There will be more as I go, and there will probably be different versions of this as we go, because as you know, I am always learning more, incorporating it into what I do, what we create, and I'm also guinea pigging. So the clients that I have now are people who have been willing to work with me from even, not only this package that I'm going to talk to you about today and how I work, but also being willing to try new processes that I've been developing. And now that we've been doing that and I get to see them in action, now is the time when I'm going to expand even more. So one-on-one spots with me. This is not your usual, one-on-one healthcare practitioner package. If you're looking for someone to run labs, talk to you about supplements, and answer those questions about, what you should eat only, that's all that you want, us working together probably won't be a good fit, because I take all of that, and on top of that, there's a lot more, because in my mind, we desperately need to reform the way that we approach health. There's so many aspects of who people are that are being left on the table and ignored as if they don't matter to their health. And this is really where I'm thinking every single day, how do we help people get to where they want to go? What does this look like? What is the biggest toolkit that someone could have that supports 100% of who they want to be and how they want to feel in life? So if you are looking for something kind of more traditional like that, cool. There's 1,010,000 other people out there doing it. So that's cool. And I'm sure that a lot of them are great. Now, if you either have done that or if you still need to do that and you are open to addressing your emotions, your kind of energetic body, the mindset, the thoughts, the beliefs that you hold that impact what your health looks like right now, and you're willing to, develop your own toolkit with me, of course, but developing a toolkit that works for you, you've actually lived it and you've demonstrated to yourself that these are all the options that work for you. Now you get to pick and choose no matter what life throws at you. So that's really who it's for. So what does it look like to work with me one-on-one? So it is a 3-month package that I am opening. There are multiple sessions within it. And then in between sessions, there's going to be more steps and more processes to be done. Now, I will not say that this is very time intensive and it's not a lot of information. This is not a package where I'm going to give you a bunch of stuff to learn. This is real time, application of living your life, and that is why the package is set up the way that it is. So this isn't something that you have to set aside special time for, but what you do have to be willing to do is make yourself a priority. You're not doing it for me because the package requires, but that's what it looks like if we're hoping to heal, right? So this is not hours of reading. It's not stuff like that. That's not really what it looks like. But there's going to be activities to do, which means that you have to be willing to make time to do them. It will be driven by you, though. All of what you're going to hear is really my version of embodying the feminine flow of things. How do we stay reactive to life happening? How do we prepare and work with someone in the healing as they're living their real life? A lot of times I see people do packages, and that's part of why I held back for a while, is that I didn't want to do a standard like schedule your sessions up front, here's the labs, and here's the plan, who cares what else is going on, because it involves all of you. That's not how this goes. So this is going to be very unique to many of you, but that's cool. I mean, obviously, if we all just need options of things to do, so this is the way that I do it. Okay, so what's included in the 3 months? There's different types of sessions that we'll do. There are 3 1-hour sessions that happen. That is, at least one of them, as long as you're doing labs, at least one of them will be to go over labs. The other 2 are for troubleshooting and being reactive to as things shift and all of that. However, all of that will be tailored. So even me saying that, it is variable for each person, because as of right now, the people that I have, some people already came with labs that were done recently. So it looked very different to, the discussion of what labs we were going to do and the order that we use the sessions for it. Other people didn't, and they needed other assistance, and so we're doing things in a different order. So this is not set in stone, but generally that is the use for those hours. Okay? In between the sessions is Voxer access. So really what most people want, a lot more sessions for, is to ask questions in real time. Okay? So for most of that, we don't need an hour. So even though we have the hour-long sessions each time, in between those, that is when my folks pop in, and it's like, here's what's going on right now, what are we doing? That is a kind of Voxer conversation. Sometimes it's real time, sometimes it's leaving messages and kind of catching up to one another. Either way, though, they're addressed then, and that is more valuable, I have found, for people than asking them to set aside 10 hours. That's not conducive to most people's stress levels and things like that. So that's the reason that I do it in that way. Also, a lot of the conversation that surrounds the testing and what we're going to do about it in those hours, there's also going to be non-supplement ways that we're going to impact the body, whether it's tailoring your parasympathetic tools for you, how to calm your central nervous system down, and addressing all of the other things, food, lifestyle. That's where I do still go into everything. But again, like I said, if you're just looking for that kind of thing, we're probably not going to be a good fit working together. All right, so that's those sessions. There is another session that's a 2-hour. Now, the 2-hour is fairly meaty, and this is where we are also going to dig in and address and get a full toolkit for, and begin to develop over time, the toolkit for addressing the other bodies: the emotional body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the energetic body. Right? So all 4 have to be covered as far as I'm concerned. Right? And of course, the tools that address these 3 will be sprinkled throughout. Sometimes that looks like Voxer messages, where I am teaching a process in real time. Sometimes that is doing it during the hour-long calls. So whatever you need, that's what's going to dictate how it plays out. I know for those of you who are very detail-oriented and want like a full plan, I get it. But if we stick you in a box and make you stick with that plan too much beforehand, it's it just ends up being what it is. So I really prefer to tailor these things to what is going on, and that means sometimes being dynamic in the moment, right? So I don't anyone listening to feel like, oh, I just have the 2 hours to learn that, and other than that, I'm out of luck. No, that's not what this looks like, because really none of these of the 4 bodies are in a vacuum. They're all playing into one another, so that's how it goes. However, during this 2-hour session, we're going to cover things like limiting beliefs, releasing them, from kind of addressing them from the subconscious mind standpoint, and beginning to rewire them and reframe them. That includes processes that you do on your own after the session as well, because repetition, as you know, is what causes the brain to learn and wire things in and actually hardwire them for the long term. Part of the belief work will also be in the Voxer, because things come up as we go, and that's another area where they'll get addressed. But that is a big one. I'm an NLP certified practitioner, so I'll be doing that as well. Emotional processing is part of this 2 hours. So we will begin to develop a toolkit that works for you for processing emotions. How you get out of, if you get into anger, how you move through that and how to process it. If it's abandonment, if it's fear, if it's worry, if it's anxiety, if it's depression, whatever it is, and all the soup that ends up getting created in our life, we need tools for processing those, because if we sweep them under the rug, as you know from listening to this, it does not end well. We don't get to pretend like they're not there. So again, that's developing that during the 2 hours, and then in real time practicing it. And that's where with Voxer, we modify things, we switch things around. All of that happens in the in-between, because it's the living of it that allows you to go even further for that. And then also inner child work. So part of the emotional and the mindset stuff is things we picked up as a kid and kind of gets stored as beliefs and things in our central nervous system. I have many inner child processes that I really love teaching with people, because that kind of stuff happens all the time and we're really impacted by that. So oftentimes when we have really intense emotions, that kind of stuff is coming up. So it's another part of the toolkit that's really, really important. And then lastly, as part of this is the energetic work. How do we clear? I've shared some of the processes that I have on the podcast, but of course, when this is tailored specifically to you for your situations, all of that is really how it gets much, much more nitty gritty and specific, and making it work for you. So that 2-hour session is really meaty, and it also means that after the session, there's going to, and in between other things, there's going to be a lot of application of you doing it. And that's what I mean by it's not going to be hours of time at once, but you will be asked to apply it, because in the application we get info, right? We get the feedback, and that leads us to where we need to go next. And that's part of being responsive about what's going on. I also create at least one personalized hypnosis for you, depending on what's happening. Sometimes I record that in real time as we're doing it, or sometimes I do it, in between sessions. It just kind of depends on how it presents and how we talk about it and all of that. There's also up to 3 will be created, because sometimes we need more, and so that's what it looks like. So up to 3 depending on what's going on. So I'm hypnosis certified as well. I love creating meditations, and so depending on what's going on for your specific case, that can all be made and customized individually. It's a really amazing way to rewire the brain, and so getting into that nice calm state and talking to the brain in a way that I can understand is really the value of that. And then of course we get to practice in a safe spot, right? We're in our room, we're just listening, but our brain doesn't know the difference. So that's how that goes. We're also going to work with a brain-based habit tracker and customize it to you. So this is a process that we do routinely, and the women we work with, for example, anyone in our Health Transformation Accelerator also has this. And when I do one-on-ones, we are customizing it and checking in with it in a different way, in a more hands-on way, of course. And then the last part of that, of the package, and this one is optional. Some people do not, or are not into this kind of thing. Though I think that, as we discuss being a good fit or not, most of the people that I work with love this kind of thing. So that's something to keep in mind, is that I do twice a week long distance Reiki and energy work while you're sleeping. Okay, that gets the conscious mind out of the way. So that is one of the ways that I help the process and really address people from every single facet of who they are and what goes into their health and their life experience, right? So all of that comes together as the 3-month package. So, check that out. It's a lot to digest, but it's been so great. I'm going to have a couple people that I've worked with on the podcast to talk about their experience, and it's just so cool to watch. I mean, it obviously makes me feel good to hear, like, I've never worked with anyone in this capacity at all. I've never even heard half this stuff. I've never tried half this stuff, and a lot of these people are coming in of like, I've tried everything. And it's really, really gratifying for me, and makes me feel really good to be able to provide that for people and just have them have the realization, like, oh my God, I've only scratched the surface of what's available to me, and I have so much more power and control over this than I thought I did. So it's really, really cool. But I'll let them share their own stories and what's happening. But that'll be for another podcast episode. So the way to start the process, there's going to be a couple steps in signing up to work with me. If you're interested in this, shoot us an email at support@zestyginger.com and just say that you're interested. What will happen is that we will send you the application form. The application form helps me see kind of everything that's been happening and your story. Now, as I see who's a good fit through the application process and who, is going to enjoy working with me and me enjoy working with them, then we'll hop on the phone. And on the phone, then we will discuss all the details and talk about how we'll tailor it, what the person needs, and all of that good stuff. So again, this is not for like, let me just pop in, do a copay, and I'm out of there. This is an entire kind of process where it's not a commitment to me, it's a commitment to you. So that's what it will look like, and that's what the steps will go. And then after we talk on the phone, that's where we'll make the call and take it from there. So if you are interested, please shoot us an email at support@zestyginger.com and we'll start that whole process. And I'm so excited to talk to you on the phone. I will see you there. All right, sending you lots of love. Bye.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting-edge information.
If you found these podcasts helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.